Hello everyone and welcome. In this video I'm going to talk about sets in C++, a very important data structure that you can use in C++. So the first thing to do in order to use a set is of course to include the set. And now to create a set, I'm going to write set, and then I have to specify the data type of the elements of my set. They're going to be integers. I have to give a name to my set, and my set is going to have, for example, these elements right here. Okay, so I have a set created with the elements 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, to iterate through this set in order to output its contents, I'm going to write for auto u in the set s. I want to see out u and an end line. So for each element in the set at s, I want to see out that element and then an end line. Now, if I run this, let's see what happens. So this is going to output 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what is happening here? So when I created my set, I put these two 2's in here. But when I output the elements of my set, I only got 1, 2. What does this mean? Well, this is because in a set, we don't care how many times an element exists. We only care whether it exists or not. So when you put an element twice in the set, well, just doesn't do it. It just adds the element one time because we don't care if an element appears once or twice or 3 times or 4 times. It doesn't matter. It only matters if the element exists in the set or if it doesn't exist in the set. So even though I added 2 2's in here, my set, well, just didn't do this. The second 2 just simply wasn't added because I already had 1 2 in here. So for this reason, when I output all of the elements of my set, I only get 1 2, right? So one more time, we don't care how many times an element exists, we just care whether it exists or not. So in a set, all of the elements are unique, and the set has its own order. So it doesn't matter in which order I add the elements, they're always going to have a set fixed order, which is, well, in the set. So for example, if I add a 5, a 6, and a 7 in here, and I run this code again, this is going to output the elements in this order. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it doesn't really matter the order or how many times I put my elements in a set. They're always going to be in a certain fixed order that I can't change, and they're always going to be unique and appear only once. Okay, so this is the general idea of a set and how you create and iterate through a set. Now, let me show you some useful methods that you can use with the set. So first of all, you can use the insert method. So the name of my set dot insert, and then you can put an element that you want to insert, for example, 8. Now, if I run this, as you can see, the element 8 was added into my set. I can also use the erase method. So let's erase, for example, the element 3. And now if I run this, I'm only going to get 1, 2, and 4. And then let me see, I can also use the clear method, and this, well, clears the entire set. So when I do this, when I run this code, this isn't going to output anything because I've cleared my set. My set is now empty, and I have the empty method. So let me see out this. So basically what this is going to do is it's going to output true if the set is empty, and it's going to output false if the set is not empty. So this is going to check whether or not the set is empty. So if I run this now, this is going to output a 0 because, well, this is false. My set is not empty. It has 4 elements inside. But if I delete this and I run my code, this is going to give me a 1 because now this checks to true because my set is empty, and so I'm going to get a 1. Okay. Now the last, actually not the last, I have 2 more. So count is going to count the amount of times that an element appears in a set. This is always going to give me a 1 because, well, like I said, a set doesn't have repeated elements. So if I put another 3 inside of my set, this is going to continue to give me 1 right? Because, well, the second 3 just isn't added. And now the last method that I have is the find method. Now, the find method is going to be a little bit different because the find method returns an iterator that points at the position of the element that we want to find, in the case that that element exists, of course. And if the element doesn't exist, then the method find is going to return an iterator that's pointing at the position right after the last element of the set. So that would be s.end, okay? So if you don't know what an iterator is, don't worry, I'm going to explain the general idea. So imagine that I have a set here with the elements 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, for example. So an iterator is going to be basically a little arrow that's pointing at a certain position. So imagine that I want to find the element 4. Now, using the find method, what I'm going to get, so if I say s.find 4, is I'm going to get a little arrow, which is the iterator, that's pointing at the position of the number 4. Now imagine that I delete 4 from my set, then s.find isn't going to give me this position anymore. It's going to give me the position right after the last element of the set. And that is a built-in iterator, which is s.end. So this is going to be an iterator that's pointing at the position after the last element of the set. And s.begin is going to be another built-in iterator, which is going to be pointing at the position right before the first element of the set, okay? So this position is going to be s.begin, and this position is going to be s.end. So let me close this and let me show you how this works. So I'm going to say, for example, if s.find 4 is equal to s.end, what does this mean? Well, that's because the element 4 isn't inside of my set, and so this s.find is going to be equal to the last position, or rather the position right after the last element of the set, right? Because 4 doesn't exist, so that's what the find method returns. So I'm going to see out not found. And otherwise, it means that we have found the element 4. So I'm going to see out found. So if I run this code right now, this is going to give me found, right? Because this condition isn't true, the element 4 exists, and so the find method is going to return the iterator to the position of the number 4, and it's going to see out found. Now, if I delete 4 from my set and I run this code, then this condition is going to be true, and we're going to see out not found, okay? So that's how the find method works with a set. Okay, so I think that's all I had to show you today. So the general idea of the set is that you have a string of unique elements that are in a certain fixed order that you can change. So functions like sort or reverse do not work on sets. And basically, well, that's the general idea of, oh, wait, I forgot something really important, which is the size method. So s.size, this is going to give me, of course, the number of elements of my set. So this is going to give me 3. So, okay, now I've showed you everything I wanted to show you. So thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. I'll do my best to answer all of your questions and help you in what you need. But for now, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.